Hey, beautiful souls, welcome to another soul chat. So, today I want to talk about and discuss further on uncertainty, fear, and how this all works with the ego. I feel like for many of us that are on this spiritual journey, for many of us that are getting onto this spiritual journey, many of us that are just becoming very aware and awakened, the very first thing that we start to understand and start to realize is the uncertainty that we feel inside, the doubt, right? Like every time we try to do something, every time we are being faithful, and we keep saying like, I'm so certain in my connection to God, and all of the good things are happening to me. And then in that very second, or in that moment, or maybe a few moments later, something happens and we get shaken, and like our certainty is completely shattered, or shaken up, and we start to feel doubt and we start to feel fear. And I want to talk about like this relationship with uncertainty, fear, and the ego. So I want you to think about the fact that you are watching a movie, right? When you're sitting there and watching a movie, you're just watching it, and maybe you get like really caught up by like the main character or the story of the movie, or you get really like in your emotions about certain things, but then you understand that it's just a movie, so you can walk away from it and it doesn't really impact your life per se, right? That's the same thing with our life. We are just the observer of our life. Our life is like a movie. It's playing. Yes, we're the main character, and yes, we're also the observer. What happens is that we get so carried away with being the main character because our ego is so attached to certain aspects of the movie that it can't let go. And in the process of just holding on to those things, we start to draw into a place of uncertainty, a place of fear, a place of doubts, right? So because we're so attached to it, because we're so invested into certain things that our ego is trying to conjure up, per se, right? To make, and because it's attached to so many like scenes of our movie, we're not able to move forward. We're not able to step back and create space between us and our life. And allow it to flow the way it needs to. And so we start to, using our free will, we start to control things. We start to get into a mode of, I need to control this, I need to do this, I need to do that. And what starts to happen in that process is when you start to put more pressure and you start to control more, you get into the mode of not trusting what is already set in motion for you, if you were to just step back and let it flow. And so what happens is then you have this relationship with your life and with even the creator, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, of distrust and of doubt. So when things are going good, you're really good. But when things aren't going good, you're like, nope, I don't trust God. I don't believe that there's God. I don't believe there's creator. I don't want to do any of this work. It's like you just throw in the towel and give up, and you're not grounded in that certainty. You're not grounded in that faith because you have prescribed to the fear that your ego is building up for you, right? And why is it that the ego wants to build this for you? Let's try to understand that. The ego wants to build this story for you because it doesn't want you to separate from everything, right? Because if you were to let go and go with the flow, then the ego wouldn't have a part in the movie. And so the ego wants a part in the movie, right? And so it tries to create things that it can keep you involved more than you need to be in the movie. I don't know if you've ever watched a movie where you were like heavily emotionally invested and like it like messed you up for like a day or so. I have. And then you like start to think about, but it was just a movie. Like that's not real life at all. That's the same thing with our life. Like, yes, these things are happening to us, but they're only happening to us because your subconscious has already created that in its mind's eye, in your mind's eye, right? that it's now being received in your reality. So like whatever you believe is what you're perceiving. And so if your subconscious is taking in all of this information and creating this movie that your ego is prescribed to, the fear, the uncertainty, then that's going to be projected in your reality, and that's what you're going to see. However, if in the moments where you feel uncertain and you feel fear, you're able to just push through and really keep faith, you're going to be able to get further and go back into flow and allow things to happen. And when we allow things to happen in our life, that's actually where the magic starts to happen. So if you remember, and if you haven't, go down to like a few weeks ago, the very first one that I did about attachments, I talked about this. If you remember, I said the secret sauce of all of this, of understanding what detachment really does for us, is the act of surrender. When we surrender, when we let go, when we allow the universe to do what it needs to do, and we have utmost trust in it, it brings us things that we don't even know are going to come through because our mind hasn't had the time to conceptualize that, right? And I cannot tell you how many times this has happened to me. The second I surrender, something else that I never even thought of comes through, and it's way better than I even thought of, way better than like what I had even asked for. But I needed to surrender, and I needed to get over the fear. I needed to get over the uncertainty, the doubt that was coming through. And that is pretty much I would say like the single most repeating cycle that happens in our life and within this spiritual journey, where we're going back and forth between faith and fear, faith and fear, faith and fear. And we are being tested over and over and over again of how strong our faith really is. And to break it down even more, the ego is only concerned with anything that serves the purpose of I, right? When you start to become so self-absorbed, or so self-involved that the only thing that you see is I, my, mine, like a toddler would say, you start to get so attached to the movie that you stop becoming the observer. And when we start to become so attached to the movie, that's when we start to feel all of the things. That's when every situation feels so heavy. Every challenge feels so heavy. Every aspect of our life feels like this like war we're fighting, right? And if we just detach from all of that and take a step back, it kind of just falls away. Like, I think for this week, the exercise that I want you to do is a meditation. And I want you to just sit in meditation and try to observe what it is that's going on within your mind, within your thoughts, within your emotions, just within your body. And in those moments that you're observing and you're not attached to what's happening, you're kind of stepping away from your ego. I want you to understand how this plays a part in your life, right? You're going to see that you feel very peaceful in this moment. When you step away and you're just observing everything, it's like it's happening, and it's like you're observing like this chaos, but you're not the chaos. You're like above the chaos. You're away from the chaos, and you're in peace. You're in this very peaceful state, but everything else is still happening. And so when we're not in that space where we're creating distance between us and everything else that's happening, it feels like it's all happening to us, but it actually isn't happening to us at all. Because I is not, me. Though those things are attached to the ego, we're more than the ego. We're soul, right? The soul is much, much more than that. And so when we start to do meditation like this, where we're just observing, we start to become very, very aware of who we are and our purpose in this world. And this is how we then raise our vibrations and raise our frequency, right? Every time we bring awareness to the state of I am in a state of uncertainty, I'm in a state of fear, I'm in a state of doubt, that's when we're going into a lower vibrational frequency. When we bring awareness that we're there, we can start to use things like meditation, EFT tapping, breath work, going for walks, just like things that like really fill our soul up to then raise that vibration and be in a frequency that's more in alignment with us. Fear and uncertainty and doubt are not our natural state. These are not the natural state of the human. And so I want you to understand that, and I want you to understand the practice of mindfulness is much more than just bringing, stress-free and anxiety-free techniques to you. I mean, it's great for that, but it's also about becoming in alignment with the observer, becoming in alignment with the main character who is the observer, right? Not the main character who is in the movie. Like, if you think about the main character in a movie, right? That actor, actress, they have a life outside the movie. So yes, they're invested in the movie and playing the character because that's their job, but that's not their life. And that's what I want you to understand about your life as the main character. Yes, you are the main character in your movie and you have to put yourself first, but your life isn't the movie. Your life is much more than that. And so become very aware of that and become very aligned with who you are. And so if you try out this meditation, this observing meditation where you're just observing, I want you to put it in the comments. Tell me what comes up for you. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. And I just launched last week a 101 3-pack session to help you with your spiritual journey. So if you're going through these things and you're like, Irvi, I want to get more certain, I want to be more certain, I want to be in more alignment with the Creator, I want to be in a place where I am more in alignment with faith and not with fear. How do I get there? I'm going to put the link to sign up for those sessions in the notes of this video, and you can just grab the link from there and you can sign up. And if you have questions, of course, just ask me any questions about this program. I'm really excited about it. I actually thought of doing this because I've been hearing so many more people that are awakening, so many more people that are going through their own spiritual journey but just feel lost and need a little bit more clarity. And it's a lot more easier than we think. Like, it's not as complicated. I think when it becomes complicated, it's for you to know that that's your ego creating this complication. Everything that comes from the soul or from the Creator is very simple and straightforward. It's very, very, very simple. Very simple. Like, there's no guessing there. Like, it's like this very sense of like certainty that comes. If there's a sense of confusion or a sense of like, I don't know, this isn't like, I don't know, like I feel really off, all of those things are coming from the ego. They're not coming from the soul. And so that's a really good way for you to know which part of you you're in alignment with. And so I'm going to leave this here. I hope that this kind of gave you a little bit more understanding of the relationship of the ego, certainty, fear, and doubt, how these things creep up in us and what to do about them, and how to go about overcoming them. And I hope that you look into the Sacred Remembrance program, which is the 3 101 sessions. I'm really excited about this, and I can't wait to see you and meet you and talk to you about your spiritual journey. I will be back with another soul chat next week. I love you all so much.